like Muslims. And what is that? You just have to put on a guttural accent and wear strange clothes, and Paul Martin will ask you for a breakfast. That's the challenge we're facing. I mean, Jack Layton is not called Taliban Jack for nothing. This party, I've been 17 years in the NDP, I ran on the ticket. The Friday after 9/11, all leaders of this country's parliament and MPs paid respect to the Muslim community in Ottawa, as if it was a Muslim community that died in the Twin Towers. It's quite bizarre. So, I mean, it was amusing how dumb Western society has become. It reminds me of that film from 1995, White Men Can't Jump, you know. So, Paul Martin and Alexa McDonough and you name it, everybody went to this Ottawa mosque. The Imam had a stick and he hit Alexa McDonough on her feet because her toes were showing. Guess who said sorry? I'm so sorry. Now you will now go down into the basement. Everyone sat in the main room. The leader of the NDP was sent to the basement because she was a woman. Her toes had defiled the piety of this mullah, this sick man. But she didn't have the spine or the guts to say, to slap him in the face. You don't touch me, you dirty, ugly man. So, back to your issue about European. The issue is that the people challenging the Islamists are the right-wing, racist radicals and neo-Nazis. They're not helping the cause by attacking Islam and mocking it. You can feel very good about making fun of someone's religion. It's very empowering. I mean, racism is fun in some ways, you know. We have to control our inner urges to be anti-racist. You have to work to be anti-racist. And because it's the right wing and the BNP and the neo-Nazis who are opposing the Islamists, it makes the center-left, center-right become apologetic about the work of the Islamists. And that's the real the here. The day the left confronts the Islamists, as it did in Holland, that's the day they won't have to, they'll have to give up the label which are the people I call Sharia Bolsheviks. You know, this is that insidious left Islamist alliance that says that I hate America, you hate America, we are brothers. That is the height of intellectualism that has struck the left wing in the Western Hemisphere. That Tariq Ali suggests that Ahmadinejad is Simon Bolivar. He has said that. There are people here who march under the banner of Hamas and have Trotskyite badges on their shirts. It's mind-boggling that it is feminist groups that are supporting polygamy. In this, you will never see Judy Rebick ever oppose the subjugation of women anywhere in the Muslim world, because, my friends, they're practicing the racism of lower expectations. What they're saying is, we are white people, we are all human beings. These are colored people. Maybe in 1,000 years they'll develop, so till they remain as like idiots and monkeys, we need to tolerate them. In essence, when a left-winger supports the oppression of my sister in Afghanistan, he or she is practicing racism of lower expectations and what I call left-wing Orientalism, which says, as long as I'm protected, I can afford to buy a ticket and go to the circus and see these clowns dance. I don't have to invite the clown back for dinner at home. Once I've gone out, the clown goes back, takes his mask off. I'm protected from this nonsense, but I can get entertained. That is why Ken Livingstone invites Karadami to London. That is why George Galloway comes over here to UFT and lectures Howard Hampton for having opposed Sharia law, and the whole erupts in cheers. Comrade Galloway is talking about the storming of the Winter Palace. It's like the Bolshevik Revolution. The Islamists are here, onto the ramparts. That's the nonsense that we are being subjected to. Sorry, got carried away.
But that's okay. I wanted you to bring it back home. You talked a lot about Europe, and I'm just wondering how you see the Muslim experience in Canada playing out over the next, say, over the next decade.
My assessment is, and it could be wrong, is that Canada is a place where the Islamists will not do anything to hurt their operational base. Every mosque in this city has received funds from Saudi Arabia. And I'm saying that on record. One mosque on QEW got $15 million. It took the Globe and Mail and Toronto Star 3 years to discover that. The recent arrest of a Canadian in Chicago who wanted to blow up the Jutland Post newspaper in Denmark, Toronto-based, is linked with the mosque in Ottawa. Nobody wants to report it. So as far as Canada being a place where they can cool their heels, they will work it out. The penetration of the Islamists in the police, in the political parties, in education institutions, in the UFT, at OASI, at your faith center, at the equity office, is for everyone to see. And unless the liberal left stands up and talks about social democracy and gender equality and says anyone who's homophobic is not permitted to even talk of individual liberty or oppression, we will have a rough time if we don't recognize the threat we face. Canada is, by the way, the only country in the Western Hemisphere that has an organized Muslim group that speaks of the separation of religion and state, which is a fundamental principle of any notion of democracy anywhere in the world. The tragedy is that Muslims who believe in that don't want to put up with the nonsense of confronting medieval monsters. So we in a country where, I don't know if you heard of this or not, but yesterday the Ontario Liberal Party elected a 36-year-old young, bright Muslim lawyer from Ottawa as their president. He came as an immigrant in 1988. Senator McHerb is a Muslim. MPs like Yves Charbonneau are Muslim. Maybe people don't know that. There are a number of people who are part of this society. The head of Rogers is a Muslim. The Secretary General of the Canadian Labour Congress is a Muslim. All these guys are what I call the good-looking Muslims who eat ice cream, go to ball games, and Canucks. And because they could be least bothered about the threat that we face, what they do is they say, it's not my problem. I'm not getting involved with these sickos. The sickos recognize that the liberal, progressive, secular Muslim, cultural Muslim, is not interested in taking up this nonsense. That's what's happened in the rest of the Western world. In Canada, a handful of us recognized just after 9/11 that the fundamental question that challenges the Muslim thinking, the Muslim problem, if there is one of gender equality, homophobia, and secularism. If we hammer this point again and again and again, we are on the winning course. And in the last 8 years, I can show you, we are only about 300 members in the Muslim Canadian Congress. We are quite proud to say that we saved the rest of this country from Sharia law on a permanent basis for all times to come. We